Okay, so welcome back. I have this TikTok called Bath with Kath, and I feel like every time I say welcome back, I want to say welcome back to Bath with Kath. But this is nothing like Bath with Kath. I hope there is very little in common. um, so yeah, welcome back. So for today's evening class, we are going to move with care. I was listening to one of my meditations with my guy Jeff Warren, and he brought up a lot of points that I really resonated with, and it reminded me of a couple conversations I've had in my life, and just the idea of mindfulness or care and different ways of reframing doing things that are good for us without even necessarily intending them to be. Just letting the present moment be what it is a form of care rather than resisting. So it's not always these very active gestures that express care, but rather a lot of things, the ways we react to things and such. So I thought we should move it through our yoga or gentle class today with a sense of care. A lot of the motions may look very similar, especially if you've been following along for days, weeks, or months, but perhaps maybe some of what you're bringing into the motion, we can spend a little more time on. So today we are going to slow things down just a tad so we can really explore what's actually there. Kind of suspend the moment for a bit and feel around our body, see how our breath is doing. So let's come on down to the mat. Call it easy seat. So if you want to make your seat easier by having a pillow or a chair, please go for it. So excellent. If you want to start with some music, you can. Take a second, do what you need to do to sort of drop in a little deeper here, a little more grounded. So if that's a little bit of movement, if that's finding your alignment, if that's just finishing the email that you really need to send off before we really start, just so you won't be thinking about it, just do those things. And then find yourself with an upright spine, taking a deep breath in, feel the breath drop into the belly. And a full exhale down to that last sip of breath. You can breathe in and out through your nose or your mouth. Maybe your eyelids get heavy on the next inhale. Maybe on that easy exhale, your eyes close. And then begin to just explore the range of breath in your body. Does the breath have a direction? Does it have a certain dimension? Is the breath maybe soft? Or perhaps today it's a little rushed and sharp. Just look into the quality of the breath. Just giving it a little more mind, a little more notice. And sit for a couple moments, just examining the quality of your breathing. Excellent. And when you're ready, you can begin to blink open the eyes, let the shoulders drop even lower towards the earth. And maybe you dip your chin ever so slightly so you feel the back of the neck kind of getting longer and the top of the head being parallel with the ceiling. Just feel into the integrity of just sitting in an aligned posture. Many of us spend so much of our time sitting, but even just bringing a little bit of intention into our seat can really change the experience. How might our shoulders be in any moment? How is our neck and how is our breath? Excellent. And let this final breath here just clear out any of the cobwebs, any crankiness or stickiness. And exhale with ease and fluidity. Wonderful. We are going to come down into our child's pose. So find a child's pose that is good for you. Knees can be under your hips or they can be open. You can place your pillow, if you like, underneath your body and just kind of snuggle up, or whatever version is comfortable for you. And as we rest here, I'm just going to tell a little anecdote. And so I'll be sitting up, but you continue to maintain your easy breath and your child's pose or resting posture of choice. So I once dated somebody who really loved to play disc golf or frisbee golf. And we got into this very intense discussion one time about it. And he was describing it as a sort of meditative experience for him. Even though he'd never sat down and practiced meditation, as far as I know, he knew he sort of tapped into something when he'd go into the woods with his giant bag of different frisbees, and kind of map out the course mentally and just kind of drop in. And the courses take a while to move through. So it's like an afternoon of this moving, roving, meditative experience. And I likened it to certain times when I've danced and sort of lost myself in the dancing and just relied on the muscle memory. But watching him and playing disc golf with him, I wasn't any good, but it was really interesting to observe. I sort of loved going out there and playing with him, or at least being in that space with him, because not only of his sort of skill and his sort of passion for it, but also the care he took. The carefully selected frisbee. There are so many kinds, drivers and putters and all of these things. He had favorites among the frisbees, knowing how many steps to take before throwing. It was like this very precise care he took, and you can tell that it mattered to him. The whole process mattered, from selecting the right frisbee to where it landed, to how the whole afternoon went, the quality of the course and the weather. And that kind of care is sort of mesmerizing. So I think as we begin to breathe a little deeper into our child's poses, perhaps we can set a collective intention to just take more care in a very small version today in our practice, moving a little more deliberation, as if this were time to be treasured. And indeed, what could be more treasurable than yoga together? So begin to bring a more active breath into your body, and on an inhale, we're going to press back up into your tabletop and come on back into your easy seat. So take a second, notice you've been laying down for a while, notice the blood kind of flowing back to your center, maybe noticing everything as if your heart were a magnet pulling in. Your energies, your mind, everything just kind of coming back in towards you. From here, we're going to inhale, let the fingers reach out and rise up to the sky, float them up, take a deep breath, feel the length. Deep breath up here, and then exhale, let the fingers float down. 2 more times in your own breathing cycle. Inhale up. Shoulders are still down, but your fingers are reaching up, gaze lifts. Feel the stretch between your vertebrae, and exhale, fingers can float down or they can return the way they came. 1 more time, inhale, reach up, deepest breath yet. Feel into the stretch, you're reaching for something. There is something there that is to be cherished. Notice the sensation in your hands as we begin to lower down. Excellent. Exhale on the downward motion. We're going to inhale, lift your right arm up. Exhale, reach over your head for your left ear. Gently guide right ear towards right shoulder. Left fingers pressing towards the earth to get a nice stretch in the left side of your neck. Deep breath here. Exhale, release the shoulders, release the tension. Make sure you're not pulling too hard. Inhale, release your hand. Exhale to settle. Take note on the exhale. Inhale, left arm reaches up. Exhale, reaches over and gently guides left ear to left shoulder. Right fingertips pressing towards the earth. On your breath here, notice how you feel. Notice the temperature of the fingers on your head. Notice the sensations. Where do you actually notice the position activating in your body? And then on an inhale, carefully release. Maybe roll back the shoulders. On your next inhale, we're going to reach both arms back up to the sky. Exhale, twist the body to the right. Exhale, lower right arm behind you. Left hand towards right knee. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, twisting to the right. Nice twist. Ooh, I just cracked my lower back. Again, let the shoulders be low. Notice where you feel it. Are you initiating the twist from the lower belly, or are you pulling your shoulders? Make sure the shoulders stay in their sockets. You're twisting the lower spine. Gaze can go over right shoulder. And then inhale, come back to center. Arms lift. Exhale, twisting from the lower belly to set us up. Exhale, right hand to left knee, left hand behind. Begin to twist to the left side of the room. Deep breath in. Notice how it feels to breathe when you're twisted. And then on an inhale, reach those arms up. Exhale, let them come on down. Take a second, hands can come to prayer. Chin drops slightly, eyes closed. Be present with yourself. Just be available to what is coming, to what it's like. What are the sounds? What are you thinking? You're just available to it, not resisting. Almost as if your own edges, your own boundaries of your body have become blurry and porous, and just blend a little bit more with what's going on around you. Deep breath in. And nice, steady exhale. And on the exhale, we're going to come onto our hands and knees. If you would like to take a couple of cat and cows, we usually do them. So if you need to take any movement here to prepare for your downward facing dog, take what you need, continue with your breathing. Any sort of wiggling, any sort of wrist variation, fingers out, or maybe fingers towards your toes, stretching those muscles in the forearms. Just take what you need. This is sort of you moving organically according to what's inside you, whatever you want. When you're nice and wiggled out, we're gonna plant the hands just ahead of our shoulders, tuck our toes, feeling the toes tucking. Can you notice the stretch where the toes connect with the feet? Take a moment. Notice all of the things that are about to happen, but that start right here. Take a breath. And then exhale, moving with care, lifting the hips nice and gently, finding your first downward dog, and then taking any movements at the top that help you ultimately to settle in and be present in this new position. Return to the breath. And when you are nice and wiggled out here, gaze towards your knees or your belly button. Find stillness. And yet we're not still as long as we breathe and as long as we live. So just bring in the smallest motion. Slow down the breath. Just notice when we slow things down, how does it feel? One more inhale here. And then exhale, we're gonna round our shoulders, round our back like you're doing a cat pose, and just come into a high lunge. Knees can drop at any point, deep breath. Exhale, rounding the shoulders first, letting the roundness travel down your body, downward dog. Next breath, lower back bend, shoulders round, high plank, neck is long, and then starting with the shoulders, push the mat away, let the roundness travel like a wave down to your lower back, downward dog. From here, we're gonna walk our hands towards our feet and deliberately let your knees bend, let your head be heavy. Let your hands hang or reach opposite elbows. And just embrace this inversion. We're going to be here for a couple moments longer than usual. So see if you discover anything new. Maybe you feel differently. Maybe the stretch kind of strikes you differently today. Maybe you start noticing the beating of your own heart as you stand upside down. Continuing to breathe. Playing with those bent knees, which really help the hamstrings stretch out. And sometimes if you have maybe some anxiety, going upside down like this can be very soothing. You're sort of protecting the heart. Your head feels very heavy. And yet you also feel very grounded, very balanced. Take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, carefully release the hands, root through the feet. Notice those feet connecting below. And then begin to rise one vertebrae at a time. When you get, when your chin is the last thing to lift, roll those shoulders back. We're going to continue to raise the arms, tall mountain, shoulders down. Gaze can be lowered or eyes can close completely. Let's take a moment in our tall mountain and feel the length of our bodies. Excellent. From here, I'm going to take my right hand, reach my left wrist, and then step my left foot behind the right, just as a little kickstand, and I'm going to stretch to the right side. I'm going to inhale, everything comes back to tall mountain. Exhale, my left hand is going to reach the right wrist. I'm going to step my right foot back, cross behind my left foot, just stretch to the left. Feel that opening, breathe into that open side body on the right. And then come on back to standing. If you turned out, come back to face the short edge of your mat. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, flow on down to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Wherever you like, sending the shoulders back, neck is long. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, you're going to bend the knees and sort of bear walk your hands to the front of the mat, high plank or low plank. Inhale to feel the integrity of this position. Can we take a moment to mindfully engage? So can we pull the belly button towards the spine and really feel the front body contract a little bit? Can we turn the elbow creases to face the front of the room? So the elbow creases, instead of facing each other, are facing the front. Gaze is down and ahead. Inhale, shift that heart forward. Exhale, bend the elbows right at your ribs, lower down, chest, then chin. And then we can move through a cobra or an upward dog. If you're moving through your upward dog, same thing. Plant your hands at the lower ribs. Press on up. While you're here, ensure that you're on the tops of your feet. You're going to roll back the shoulders. So instead of hunching forward, you're actually pinching those shoulders back. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Make sure that even if you're gazing up, you haven't lost the neckline. You haven't just broken the neck backwards. So keep the back of the neck long and find the lift from the lower ribs, almost like you're pushing away. And then exhale, drop the knees wherever you are. Send it on back, child's pose. Take a moment just with yourselves here. Don't resist anything that comes to you inside of you or outside. And then inhale, press on up to our tabletop. We're going to walk our hands forward, tuck our toes, feel the stretch in the toes, feel the palms connecting, maybe even so mindfully as to deliberately press down the knuckle of the thumb, then index fingers, knuckle of the middle fingers, knuckles of the ring, and pinky fingers, like a little ripple of flattening the palms. Elbow creases face forward, engage the lower belly, then lift those hips high. Gaze towards the knees, deep breath in. Exhale to simply arrive here. Inhale, gaze forward. You're going to walk those feet. Maybe you stay on the balls of your feet. Walk those feet towards your hands. I'm going to face you. Same thing as before. Feel the gripping of your feet this time as you roll on up one vertebrae at a time. When you get to the top, roll back those shoulders. Take in a refreshing breath. Let it out. Then inhale, arms up, tall, standing mountain. Exhale, palms come together, bring them to your heart, Anjali Mudra. Feel the resistance of hand against hand. Just so many things to explore in even the simplest of movements. Shoulders down, chin slightly dipped, crown of the head parallel with the ceiling. Gauge the glutes. You can just do so much. Grip through the outer edges of the feet as well as the big toe mounds. And then release everything. From here, you're going to separate your feet about shoulders width apart, maybe a little more. You're going to ensure that your knees are nice and bent. You're going to inhale, arms up. And then exhale, I'm going to reach forward like a forward fold. And I'm going to take my peace fingers and hug my big toes. So yogi toe holds, we sometimes call it. So ensure that your knees are nice and bent and reach for those toes. If your toes are inaccessible right now, just reach wherever your edge is. If you're at your toes, carefully release your head. It's my favorite expression, release the head. Just release it onto the floor. Let the head roll away. What I mean is release the tension in your neck so that your head is truly just hanging. Let the shoulder blades kind of tuck back into their pockets. We have the tendency to kind of pull them out towards the earth. Tuck them back in. Bend the knees. Maybe bend the elbows a little bit. Take a couple deep breaths here. Check in on the feet. Are you leaning inwards? Are you leaning towards the outer edges? Are you on your toes or your heels? See if we can balance out the foot stance. One more breath here. See where you can take it. Any small micro adjustments you can make. And then exhale, release the hands, bend the knees, and roll on up. Okay, just as we have. Notice as we continue to roll up, if with each roll, there's a little bit something new to feel or something new to notice. Maybe you feel softer, smoother, who knows? Man, these pants do not, I just don't want to. We're gonna open our legs nice and wide now. Whoa. Reach those arms out. Hands should be about, ankles should be about underneath the hands. You have some options here. One, you can keep your hands on your hips. Two, you can clasp your hands behind your back and stretch. Or three, you can simply lower your hands down to the floor. I'm gonna do the clasped hands one because I think that's maybe the trickiest to not see. So inhale, feel tall. And then exhale, leading with the heart, noticing, paying attention to the back, to the spine. Can we keep the straightness of the back, shoulders pressing towards each other? And then when you feel you can't press forward anymore without rounding, then round the spine towards the ground. Palms can be on the ground, hands can be on your hips as well. Take a deep breath in. And hold for 3 to 5 cycles of breath. We are in no rush here. Make sure that there's a micro bend in your knees so you don't lock them out. And notice in the stillness and the patience that you're applying to this posture, notice the subtle opening you might start experiencing. Make sure that the toes are pointing towards the front. And if your hands are clasped, carefully release them and place the palms on the floor. Same thing if your hands are on your hips, bring those palms to the floor and just reactivate the posture. Come on back into your fold. Take 2 more cycles of breath. Noticing the subtle opening, the subtle releasing. And when you're ready, press your hands into the mat, gaze forward, and then exhale, drop the head, bend the knees, and roll on up. Woo. Roll back the shoulders when you get there. From here, we're just gonna turn the right toes out to point to the short edge of your mat. Inhale, arms wide. Exhale, bump the hips to the left. And then exhale, come into this triangle. Your hand can fall wherever it wants. An excellent spot for a block, either on either side of your leg. Just try to engage the obliques on the right side so that you're not completely collapsing down, but there's a little bit pressing back, a little bit of resistance to gravity, keeping your body a little bit more upright than down. Gaze can be up at the stretched hand above. And then exhale, slight bend in the front knee. Come on back up. Hands to the hips. We're simply going to rotate to the other side. Back leg is pointing out. Left leg is pointing to the back edge of your mat. Inhale, arms out. Bump the hips to the right. Feel long in that torso, like the left hand is reaching for a glass of water. And then no, you drop the glass of water towards your ankle. But that's okay because someone in the sky is offering you another one. Hey, reach for that glass of water. You're just so parched. Good. Energize it out through the fingers in both hands. Unless your bottom hand is holding onto your leg, then don't worry about energizing out through the fingers. But any fingers that are just floating in the air, energy out. Deep breath in. And then exhale, gentle bend in that front leg. Come on back up. Whew. And you can toe heel or however you want to just get those legs together. We're going to come to the back edge of your mat. Inhale, arms up. This is our last standing posture. So feel into the integrity of your whole shape here. Fill with air. And then exhale, press the air out of your body as you fold. Bend in the knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Notice if you can move with a little bit more grace and steadiness. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to inhale to look forward. We're just going to walk the hands out and let the knees drop to the ground. Whew. Send the hips to one side. Take a second to get onto your booties. Soles of the feet planted on the ground. We're going to hug the legs in and just rock and roll a couple times. Just rock back and forth. Feel kind of like a little bit of rush of air going by you. Bringing a little bit more motion to our sometimes very static practice. And by that, I mean, we often just stay in one spot in our practice. Wonderful. From here, we're going to gently roll down onto our backs. Bring those heels a little closer to your booty so you can almost touch them with your fingers. Engage the lower belly. Press the lower belly towards the floor. And then inhale, lift into a bridge. Deep breath in. Exhale to maintain. Inhale one more time. Then exhale, so slowly begin to release. Notice the release of the glute muscles. Notice how the back takes a new shape. Take a breath at the bottom. On your next exhale, one more time. Press the lower back into the floor. Begin to lift. Hold for one cycle of breath. Maybe you can add a little bit more lift by pressing into those feet, lifting the hips, palms pressed against the floor. And then on an exhale, begin to notice the release of the muscles involved and the spine returning to its natural S-shaped curve. From here, arms come out to the sides and just let your knees drop side to side. Just wiping the practice clean. From here, we're almost done. We're gonna lift the heels, reach on either side of the feet, and come into your own version of happy baby. Some people like to press their tailbones into the ground. Other people like to really round. Some people like to straighten a leg at a time or rock side to side. You are the happy baby here, so do what makes you the happiest. And even if that means just playing around and experimenting because you have no idea what version of happy baby makes you happiest, that's like excellent. That's such a good place to be. Just experiment and take a couple little mini risks. And then let the soles of the feet come together. Maybe you just kind of hug them in a little bit. And then bring soles of the feet to the ground. Extend one foot and then the other, legs parallel, arms overhead. We're going to walk both feet over to the left side. And then maybe we bring our arms to the left side too. So we're making this kind of bell-shaped curve with our bodies. Banana asana. Take a deep breath. Maybe eyes begin to feel a little heavy, or you just give yourself permission to close your eyes altogether. Noticing the openness on the right side of the body and the compression on the left. Eyes still closed. Allow the breathing to become a little heavier, a little slower. Begin to walk the feet past center and over to the right side. And nice and easy, bring the arms over to the right side too, and a gentle stretch, making a C shape with your body. Allowing the breath to be heavy. Noticing when you inhale, where do you feel it? Do you feel a stretchiness in the body or an expansion near the ribs? And then when you are ready, come on back to center and then simply let your arms fall by your sides. Open those legs nice and wide and let the feet just fall out to whichever side feels good. And just ground here for a moment. With nothing else to do, bring your awareness now to the small places in your body that you might be holding onto tension and tell your body to relax. Appreciating the subtleties of each moment, the loyalty of the breath. Breathing itself is an act of care. Let yourself release on your exhales and just be available to everything. You're smooth to any distractions. Let's just take a community breath in together. Deep breath in. Then sigh it out. I'm going to allow you to stay here as long as you want, so I'm not going to guide you out. I just want you to know that I appreciate your presence in class tonight and always. And I'm really grateful for the care you take in showing up for yourself and the care you show this community. I offer you my sincerest gratitude and a very heartfelt namaste. Good night, everybody. I hope you can stay in this position as long as is soothing for you. And just a note, Saturday classes this week and next week are going to be at 10 a.m. This week it's 45 minutes and next week we'll be back to an hour. So 10 a.m. for Saturday. Thanks, everybody.